Hey folks, in today's video I'm going to be going over my attempt to hit the new Shadowlands level cap of level 60 as a Resto Druid, as quickly as possible. Let's get started. This isn't a speedrun per se, I won't be using gliders or gun shoes, and due to work, I can't do it in one sitting, but my aim is still to hit level 60 and then complete the main story campaign in under 7 hours, so let's see how I did. So once we are in the moor, it's time to really get moving. Since you can't see other players at the start, at least it felt like it, I thought this might hurt me, but thanks to gear, Moonfire and Sunfire deal with pretty much every enemy easily, allowing mass pulls. Thanks to being able to mount up as a druid, I thought I'd be ahead, and in Jaina's Cave I encountered the first player to phase in, my Mythic Plus tank buddy, Gerond. This was a good sign, I was ahead of everyone else in my Moor Shard. As expected, my lead only grew, mainly thanks to a travel form, and I made it to Oribos after 30 minutes, a time I was very happy with and a first in the guild. But this was where the trouble started. It all began with a longer loading screen, no doubt not helped by using a single PC to play and record. The troubles, however, were about to get worse. Much worse. During the tour, I began to notice a couple of seconds of lag per speech, but by the time I returned to the voice, it was obvious the lag was immense. With how slow they took to move, it actually took me over 35 minutes and a disconnect in order to open up the way to Bastion. By now, my lead was crushed. Oribos should have taken like 10 minutes. Instead, it was 20 minutes behind schedule. The Horde were already flooding the start of Bastion, but luckily in war mode they were still peaceful. The Kyrian ability is useless for leveling as Resto, but luckily Bastion doesn't have too many killing quests and my gear is still massively ahead of the enemies here. Since I was Alliance with a 30% war mode bonus, I was pretty sure I could skip all the side quests. I did do one and a bonus objective at the Temple of Purity which I didn't need to, but I was so used to doing them on beta, I instinctively did them here. I noticed at level 51 the reusable rune no longer worked, so I sold it. Hope that won't come back to haunt me later. Bastion may not require too much killing, but it does have a lot of endures, something that Dash, Darkflight and Stampeding Roar can all easily cover. Thanks to these, I managed to make it back to the same chapter as Gerond as he ended Bastion, but on the last elite, my healer class really started to show how high health single target mobs, time was starting to slow down. It was late, I had worked the following day, so I used a cape to get back to Stormwind, then Oribos, and logged off for the night after 2 hours, 20 minutes, and level 53. The following day at work, I watched all the cinematics as I was stripping them, and found out the reusable rune now works until level 59. Damn. Anyway, after work it was on to Maldraxxus, a zone with a great ability in Adaptive Swarm. With this, Moonfire and Sunfire, we can near enough solo every enemy just with those 3 abilities. I actually thought it was doing well, until I forgot that Draka would take me to the seat of the Primus herself, and I hadn't picked up the flight point at Spearhead that I was planning to. So she whisked me away, but other than that, the zone was actually quite smooth. Maldraxxus is my least favourite of all the zones, but I felt I made fairly good time, finishing the zone after 4 hours and 10 minutes and at level 56. Overall, my only real complaint was forgetting that flight path. Another break for food, and it was time for the home stretch, starting with Ardenweald. It may be my favourite zone, but we're concerned about speed here. Ardenweald was where I really started to feel some of the overpowered gear started to weaken. I could pull large packs still, but rather than be able to just swipe them down, my health would plummet and I'd need to kite instead with Urzel's Vortex. Luckily, Ardenweald, just like Maldraxxus, offers a great ability in Convoke the Spirits, and with this killing things is still fairly quick even as a healer. Unfortunately, I wasn't too happy with my Ardenweald split, that is, how long it took to do the zone. Unlike the Maldraxxus flight point mistake, this was nothing in particular, but 10 seconds there, 10 seconds here, it all adds up. I'm not feeling confident of sub 7 hours now, but Ardenweald, after 5 hours, 40 minutes and level 58. It's still in with a chance. Last up is Revendreth, and very quickly I am dead, obviously losing a fair amount of time. By now, pulling too much is an easy death, especially when I get caught up in a wall. Although Revendreth's ability is not great outside of single kill quests, overall the zone is fairly light on killing quests. Obviously our weakness as a healer. It's not without its mistakes though, as there are a few times I pulled extra for a bonus objective that I never did, or I just forgot to forge those documents that I needed to. The Ember Ward is the last heavy combat part of the zone, but time is looking tight, even with light crystals that do most of the killing for us. Alas, the 7-hour mark does go past with a bar to go, and we hit level 60 after an excruciatingly painful 7 hours and 3 minutes. That timer has failed, mostly due to Ouroboros, but I did make enough mistakes over the last 3 zones to cost 3 minutes. So, part of it's my fault, part of it's lag's fault. Now on to finish the campaign, and what a disaster. This scenario at the end was awful. Sure, it's no issue, even for a healer, but during my first time though, would the prince spawn at the end? No. Would any NPC spawn at the end? No. It seemed pretty barren. Eventually I found a way to re-enter, and here I find the NPCs back at the start. Not moving. And then I'm kicked out into the post-scenario phase. That means returning all the way to Sinful to redo the scenario, this time not letting Prince Renathal out of my sight, because I must treat him like a child, and after just 8 hours, the campaign is finally done. That scenario, oh boy. Overall, I am very disappointed I couldn't hit the 7-hour mark, but I know that while I could have, the majority of the lost time by far was entirely out of my control. So I think I still proved that Resto Druid can be a match for any DPS spec out there in terms of leveling speed, despite other websites telling you otherwise. The entire run, bar some DCs, is linked in the description if you want to put yourself through me standing still for like 30 minutes in Ouroboros, and thanks for watching.